Hi guys, welcome back to a new lesson for math this week. We're going to be working on some multiplication strategies and how we can use partitioning when we're working with very large numbers. So to do this, we're going to start out with a math message problem that is on page 111 of your math journal. So if you want to follow along with me and work with me, you can do yours on page 111 in your journal while I do it up here. Okay, so to start out, we've got a problem that we have to solve. We've got Maya who wants to tile her floor. So if I'm thinking already what that means, if she's going to fill in a space inside with tile, I'm thinking area. We're going to solve some sort of problem where we are going to need to find the area of a space inside. So in this case, we're talking about tile that she's going to lay down. So let's keep reading and see what other information we have. It tells us that this area is going to be 8 feet wide by 24 feet long. So I know it's going to be 8 by 24 on my rectangle. So I'm just making notes on my picture here so I can make sense of what the question's asking me. It tells me she wants to know how many 1 square foot tiles is she going to need to fill up that space. Now I know you guys have gotten really good at multiplication and a lot of you can do it very, very quickly. So you can do a problem like this in your head even though it's bigger numbers. So if we think about 24, what 24 means, we could separate that into 20 and 4, 24, right? So if we decompose my rectangle, we know the whole side is still 24. I did not change that at all, but I'm going to separate it out into 20 and 4. So I have a side that is 20 and I have a side that is 4. The whole thing altogether is still 24. Now these are easy numbers to work with, right? So if I'm thinking about area, the space inside, I know all I have to do is multiply the length times the width, right? So my first little rectangle is going to be 4 times 8. And I know you guys know that, 4 times 8. Hopefully you said 32 or you wrote 32 because you have this on your page in front of you, so you could be sketching it out with me. And so the other side is going to be 20 times 8. That sounds an awful lot like something else that you were doing with the strategy of the 0. So let's ignore the 0 for just a minute. 8 times 2, that's super easy, right? 16. And then we'll throw our 0 back on there once we're done. Okay, so now we've decomposed our numbers. We separated them out into 2 smaller, easier to manage numbers. So now our only job is to squish them back together. So we've got 160 plus 32, and I'm guessing most of you will be able to do that in your head, but we'll write it down just so that we have it in front of us. Okay, so if we have 162, I know, or 160 plus 32, I know if I add those together, I have 190. So if she's going to tile a space that is this big, I know she's going to need 192 square feet. So remember, we do the little exponent 2 up top to denote that it's a square, okay? 192 square feet. Now, I've done lots of beautiful work on this problem, and I want to be very clear what my answer is, because I've got numbers here, I've got numbers there, I've got things all mismatched around, right? So I'm going to go ahead and circle this so it's clear. Anybody that looks at my work will know that 192 is what I want my answer to be. Okay, so our original problem would have been 8 times 24, and we could have counted out 24 groups of 8, or we could have used some other strategies to solve that, but I know this and I know this easy in my head, and so I can start doing that some mental math. Okay, so let's look at a second one. What if, and this one is not in your book, so you'll just have to think along with me. What if we have Jacob, and Jacob got a new bike. Okay, Jacob got a new bike, he likes to ride, and he's going to ride it 4 miles, 4 miles a day for 39 days. And we want to know how many miles is he going to be able to ride. So let's see, he rode 4 miles a day, 4 miles every day, okay, and he's going to do this for 39 days. So even though this is not an area problem like our tile one was a moment ago, we can still solve it using an area model because I know it's going to be 4 miles for each of 39 days. So that sounds like multiplication, right? So I could still draw out my box and I could say I'm going to multiply 3 times 39, okay? I could multiply this in my head. I could count out 39 plus 39 plus 39 plus 39, and I'm still going to come up with the same answer. But let's work smarter, not harder, okay? Let's break this up. It makes sense to me to say 30 and 9, part and part. So then I can easily say, oh, I know 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Easy. Throw my 0 back on. Now my other side, 4 times 9, would be 36. Easy. Okay? Then I'm going to squish those two back together because I decomposed it. I pulled it apart to start, so I'm going to have to put it back together when I'm done. Clean up my mess, right? So I have 120 plus 36 gets me 156. And I need to put a label on here, so let's think about what that label needs to be. Well, it was 4 miles a day for 39 days. So is this going to be 156 days? That doesn't seem right. That seems like an awful lot. How about miles? 4 miles per day for 39 days. So we would be adding 4 miles each day. So the label here would be miles. Do we have to put the little 2 like we did before? Not this time, because we're not talking about area. We're talking about miles every single day. So even though we used an area type model to help us solve it, we're not talking about the space inside of his bike ride. That doesn't make any sense. We're just talking about how many miles he was able to ride. And while I'm thinking of it, this makes me think of another strategy that we could have also done. Remember the close but easier numbers? So when I first see 39, I think that's awfully close to 40, right? Well, 40, I know would also be an easy number for me to multiply with for my times 4. So if I do 4 times 40, I would get 4 times 4 is 16 and then throw my 0 back on. But that's one too many groups of 4. So once I have my 160, all I really have to do is take away one group of 4, take that off of there, and I can do that in my head really easily. 60 minus 4, 56. And I'm going to get the same thing, 156 miles. So even though you have big numbers, even though they may not be ones that you think you can do in your head right away, you probably can. If you think about those really good math strategies that you already know how to do, and you look for easier numbers to multiply with, I think you'll find you'll be able to do a lot of these in your head. So right there, I could have done 4 times 39 in my head, even though they're bigger numbers than what I'm used to. Okay, so use those great strategies. I'm going to have you practice a few of these problems in your math journal on page 112 and then a review on page 113. So let me know what questions you have. Bye, guys.